Start talking about the presentation.
Hello, and welcome to this month's webinar. This is Coach Adrian, joined, as always, by the amazing Coach Natalie. And we are very, very happy to be able to come once again to do these webinars for you, because we enjoy sharing the latest tips, tools, and techniques with you. And we always enjoy communicating with you as well. And so please share with us. Tell us, can you hear us? Can you, in the chat, if you can hear us, please say hello.
Feel free to type here in the
Tell
corner.
us where you're from, where you are, so that we can start to interact. Can you hear us?
Anybody?
Let me check with the technique if we are indeed live and if this is going on. Give me just 1 second.
Brad's here. I hear you. Thank you, Crystal, for filling us in.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So let us know where you are. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Troy. Hello, Brad. Hello,
hey,
Crystal.
Troy.
Hello, everyone. Tell us where you're from, and please share a little bit about yourself too, so that when we start the Q&A section at the end of the webinar, we will know a little bit about you, just in 2 or 3 sentences, please. Otherwise, we won't be able to keep up. So we're just going to give another couple minutes before we get started, so that everyone who is a little bit late can join in and not feel like they've missed out on the bulk of the presentation.
And guys, in reference to the Q&A portion toward the end of the presentation, please make sure that your questions pertain to the topic. The topic is how to get back with your ex if you're the one to blame. If you have any questions outside of this topic, you can feel free to reach us directly. We'll provide a contact email toward the end. But for right now, let's try to keep it within this topic, okay?
Yep. So we have lovely people in London, New York City, in Sudan, in Kentucky, all over the world. And this is one of the perks, one of the pleasures of being able to work with individuals all over the world. We get to really, truly learn about relationships and interconnections and from a multicultural background and setting. And it's one of the things that I love most. So excited to have all you guys here. And for those of you who were not able to make it, we're going to try to share the replay of this webinar presentation with you following this event. So before we get started, it's important for you to really tune out the noise, okay? Shut off Facebook chat, put your phone away, and really focus on the actual presentation to get the most out of it. You don't really necessarily need to take notes. Just make sure that you focus on the content, and we will share the replay of the presentation as we discuss. So you will have the opportunity to kind of take some notes after the fact, and that replay will be going on for 2 or 3 days after the fact. So I think we should get started. What do you think?
Yeah, awesome. So what we're going to do with this webinar, guys, is we're going to, just like the previous 2 that you guys hopefully have tuned into, we're going to start with a presentation that we made, a bit of a PowerPoint of sorts to help us walk through. Feel free to grab a pen and paper, take some notes, and also if any questions come to your mind during the presentation, make sure to write them down so that we can discuss them toward the end, okay? So I'm going to share my screen with you now. And I'm going to open this.
All right. So we have moved away from our traditional PowerPoint type presentation to this more fancy and up-to-date webinar type of presentation. And hopefully we've done this because we felt like it was a better way to provide you with the relevant information. So hopefully you'll enjoy this.
And please feel free to give us feedback too on what it is that you think about it, okay? So we'll go ahead and get started. Our topic of the month is get your ex back when you're to blame.
So the basic presentation, the basic outline of this PowerPoint presentation, as you can see, there's 5 sections to it. And we wanted to give you an overview, an introduction, as always, as to who we are and why we do what we do. And also to give you a kind of a glimpse of what happens during our private coaching sessions, to give you 3 of the pillars of the roadmap that we provide our clients with. The breakup process and how to approach it, radio silence if and when applicable, and also the means to reconnect in terms of communication strategy. And at the end of the presentation, we'll give you the glue, the caveat as to how you can, how all of this comes together.
How it all can work for you. So let's go ahead and start with the coaches. I am Coach Natalie, and this is Coach Adrian. I began my career a few years ago primarily in the corporate space. I'd help employees build teams and execute projects. Since then, I've coached over 500 people, and my specialty in love and relationship coaching is nailing the first date with your ex after the breakup.
So I'm Coach Adrian. I have coached people from all over the world. You can find our videos on YouTube. And I've gotten into this space because I was a personal development coach. And so that's how I transitioned, helping clients of mine find answers to their love life issues. My specialty, I'd like to believe, is in helping people get their ex to miss them. Because if you are truly engaged in a process of personal development, personal transformation, then ultimately your ex will miss you. It is kind of the fruit of the work of the personal development process. And so that's what I like to specialize in as part of the breakup recovery process.
So now into the breakup. This is the general breakup process, not just the breakup itself, but also just post a few days, weeks after the split, okay? When it comes to what to do.
So when a breakup occurs, the first goal that I try to pass to clients is to avoid making mistakes, okay? Because people usually try to fix everything right away. And it's important for us to tell you that avoiding mistakes is an essential part of what to do, as we will cover in a second. But ultimately, the important element here is to ensure that you convey empathy and understanding, right? Your partner is seeking a new beginning. Your partner is seeking a new identity. And if you are trying to change their mind, or if you are not able to convey the fact that you've accepted this need of a new identity, then you're missing the point, and you will be basically fighting an uphill battle. So it's important that you choose to focus on your own personal growth, and that you convey messages that show that you're more focused on trying to find what binds you together, rather than you trying to prove your change right away, for instance.
Absolutely, because what it really comes down to, guys, is you have a partner that's unhappy. That's what's happening right now. And you need to acknowledge their unhappiness, because it shows that you are a respectful, loving, and comprehensive partner. If you immediately just try to fix it, it just shows that you're putting your feelings and how much you're hurting above their hurt and above their feelings. And I think that what this really comes down to is allowing for your partner to understand that you empathize.
Okay. And it's very, very important that you also continue to acknowledge the fact that this breakup is real, and that you are not just in a selfish pattern where you are trying to figure out what you want, but that you're also helping your partner to continue to grow, and that you're not going to clip their wings. Okay, I think that people can now see us and can now hear us. Can you just confirm? Tell us, yes, we can hear you, or an okay in the chat would be really helpful. Okay, great. Yes.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you guys so much. So here's what we're going to do. While we didn't really plan for this, we want to make this go as smoothly as we can from here on out. And so we're going to scratch the PowerPoint right now, and it's going to be like us. It's going to be us speaking, really common dialogue, walking you through the process, and feel free to include some questions here in the bar. If you want to open the presentation on this computer, if we need, just in case.
Sure.
Okay, so what we were really discussing is helping our clients create roadmaps to getting back with their partners, primarily if they're the ones at fault, if we're the ones at fault, if we're the ones to blame. In the breakup itself, a lot of people like to beg. They like to guilt trip their partners and saying, how can you do this to me? Why are you hurting my feelings? Why are you leaving me? But when we do that, we end up reminding them that we don't listen to them. And we end up reminding them that we are only caring more about ourselves and what it is we feel rather than what they're feeling and how unhappy they may be right now. So first thing out of the bat, do not beg. This is not just during the breakup itself. This also embodies the period just post-breakup. Could be a couple days, a couple weeks. All those mornings and all those nights you want to wake up in the middle and just text them and tell them you miss them. Now would be the time to really avoid that at all costs.
Absolutely. Most people get overly emotional after a breakup, and rightfully so. And so from my experience, most of the biggest mistakes usually happen or occur right after a breakup. And so understanding what to say and what to do often starts with understanding what not to do and what not to say. And you need to understand that your ex is looking for a clean slate, independence, a new identity. And by clinging on, begging, pleading, trying to change their mind, you are basically challenging this notion and this need to create a new identity. And that's how you become a burden or an enemy, almost, to what they're now trying to accomplish. Don't get it twisted. A breakup is a selfish act. A breakup is basically someone telling someone that they used to love, I can't be with you anymore because I need to make myself happy, and you're not making me happy. And the best thing that you can do is actually to accept the breakup, to show empathy, to show that you respect their decision and that you understand their position. Because once you do that, you're no longer an enemy. You are no longer coming in the way of what they truly want, and you're already starting to reposition yourself as someone that can bring joy, happiness, or a new and improved love story. I understand that it's difficult because you're suffering tremendously, and as your partner is seeking this new identity, yours is being shattered. Your identity is being shattered because we as human beings rely on relationships to forge our identity. So a breakup is the loss of a common life project, of future plans, of dreams, and etc. And it's important for you to let go of the fear of loss in order to ensure that you also continue to evolve on your end.
Absolutely. And with that note, I think that there's two really good tips that I like to give my clients. Tip number one is prepare yourself for the fact that this is going to hurt. Okay, we are only overcome by things that we couldn't predict. And I think that we get so taken aback by the fact that we are hurting so bad right now that we just don't know what to do. So this is me giving you a heads up. It hurts. Accept the fact that it hurts, and slowly it will start to hurt less. So that's something that I think is really, really important to focus on. And needless to say, let's say that you're going into no contact for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. What is 6 weeks relative to a long-term relationship? To the rest of your life? It's not that long. And while right now you're dying to text, if you don't text, you're going to freak out. Remember that, just zoom out a little bit and see the bigger picture. And it's not about this idle Sunday or this week or this month. It's about the rest of your entire life. And if you can bite the bullet right now, you can start really fixing some groundwork toward rebuilding your relationship in the future and make it one that's going to last.
To piggyback on what Natalie was saying about pain and accepting pain, I've come to understand that we cannot experience love without experiencing suffering. The two come hand in hand, whether you're in a healthy relationship or not. And that's just the truth of the matter, because relationships are complex. Human beings are complex. And even in long-term, healthy, sustainable relationships with your soulmate, the person that you were destined to be with, there's still going to be pain and suffering. And of course, we're not told that. We're told that love is supposed to be Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie at their peak, or Disney and all that. But that's unrealistic, and it creates false expectations. And that's why a lot of times people blast through partner after partner after partner, seeking just the thrill of the chase and this feeling of being in love, rather than building a healthy, long-lasting relationship with someone that they can flourish with. So when you are to blame for a breakup, it's necessary for you to really take a long-term view of the process. When you're to blame, it means that you've made big mistakes usually. And expecting to sort out these mistakes overnight is dangerous, and it will lead you to making unnecessary mistakes. Okay? So we've talked a little bit about what to avoid and what to say, but I think that we need to also talk about mindset and expectations. And it's a perfect segue or transition into the no contact. Okay, this notion of no contact and what we've coined radio silence. Actually, what our founder, the founder of our philosophy, Alexandre Cormon, what he's created in coming up with this philosophy of radio silence. So, Coach Nat, can you say a few words about that and what differentiates what we do and what people have done in the past?
Yeah, I think that in a really basic way, I just think no contact is a really overly used, loosely defined term that a lot of people refer to, but there's no real set rules. It's kind of a one size fits all approach. And we don't really believe that. I think that reality is totally relative. I think that each and every one of you watching this webinar is going through a unique situation. And so radio silence is the tailored no contact, unique to you and what it is that you're going through. I don't think that everyone goes through 30 days no contact. I don't think that everyone has to outreach in very specific ways. I think that what's happening in your life deserves real attention and a really tailored approach. And that's kind of what Alexandre Cormon was referring to when he founded this radio silence sort of thing.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's not realistic to expect to use the same technique for a college student who's dated his or her girlfriend for 6 months and for someone who's been in a marriage for 30 years with kids or even grandkids, right? The level of complexity of the breakup or the separation is different. The emotional baggage is different. And the level of emotional maturity is different. And so those different techniques require specific tools. And we've created an amazing product called the radio silence approach to getting back with an ex, where we try to provide you with the tools to contextualize this technique to your situation. And of course, you're going to need to use your head and your common sense, but we give you the guidance that you need through this product to enable you to position yourself for success. And so I highly encourage that you check out this product if you haven't already done so.
With radio silence, what we did in the presentation that you guys can't really see right now is we broke it down into what it means to you and what it means to your ex. So let's start with your ex. The beauty of no contact is that of radio silence that it allows for your ex to miss you. It allows for them to realize all the value that you do add rather than just being that super frustrating person that they feel that they're dealing with towards the breakup itself. It allows for you to redeem yourself. It allows for them to see that you have emotional control, which needless to say is really, really attractive because I think that when we avoid radio silence, we continue to put our exes on a pedestal, which means that they're the superior partner here. And so now it's us kind of hoping to get some of their attention and them giving us breadcrumbs. And that doesn't feel good for you. And I promise you, it actually doesn't feel very good for them either. And then on the flip side, radio silence, I'm so sorry. Radio silence also gives you the opportunity to focus on you. Because ultimately, there was something wrong. And for many of you, I know that the breakup feels like it was totally blindsided. It just popped out of nowhere. If it was blindsided, that means that the problems are still very, very much real because we couldn't even identify that there were problems. And so we have to spend some time deep diving into who it is we are and determining what part of us or what we were or were not doing was negatively affecting our partner and their belief in our compatibility long term.
Yeah, I think that for most of my clients, the people that reach out to me, it's about providing them with the time and space to see the bigger picture. Because a breakup can change your life. And losing someone that you truly love can be devastating. And to expect that you can just bounce back and figure everything out overnight and convey that to the person that you love within a week is not realistic. It's not. There's been studies that show that a breakup can have similar impact as the loss of a loved one. I'm talking about the death. It's that devastating. And so there's a grieving period. And for that reason, taking a step back and grieving and understanding what went wrong and positioning yourself in a place where you can actually start to evolve into this person that you want to be, and this person that can inspire the one you love like you did at the beginning of your relationship, is logical and necessary. And so that's why the radio silence technique is absolutely key to approaching this breakup recovery process the right way.
Absolutely. And needless to say, if you're wondering how long it's supposed to last, that's a very relative question, which I'm sure a lot of you are wondering. I know I would. I encourage you to reach out to us for a one-on-one so we can kind of assess your situation, because it's gonna be different. Could be 15 days. It could be 55. Mm-hmm. And I think that as long as you're able to nail that answer, and of course we can help you figure it out, that's going to really help you optimize your chance of our next slide, which leads into reconnection. Reconnection is now the waiting game is over. You are empowered. You feel great. You couldn't be better. And you're excited to invite your ex back into your life. Remember, this is not just you trying to get with them. It's also seeing if they're good enough for you too, because now you've rekindled with yourself. You see all your worth, and hopefully you're in a really good spot. So when it comes to reconnecting, what is it that you advise?
Yeah. So every situation is relative, but based on our years of experience, we've seen that a handwritten letter, can be very, very, very effective to reestablish healthy dialogue. So there's a lot of negative baggage associating to writing a handwritten letter to an ex, because again, a lot of people out there on the internet are proning a one-size-fits-all approach, which isn't always accurate. So your expectations with this letter shouldn't be that through this one tool, your ex is going to come running back. It is just a vehicle for you to express how you feel and to get a clean slate, to be able to convey the new you and to ultimately seal the deal. It is a very, very, very powerful tool. Very powerful tool when done the right way. And we've also created a product to help you structure this process, to give you the structure you need to self-coach and to write the perfect letter for you. And I really encourage you to also check that out, or to reach out to us so that we can work on a letter that is tailor-made for what you are going through.
I love editing letters. It's one of my favorite things. So I would love it if you guys would invite me into this process, because it's something that I like to think I'm pretty good. And I think that when it comes to reconnecting, it's also about not making this a big deal. Don't make reaching out to your ex a humongous big bad wolf situation, because it's going to scare you. And the moment you start second guessing yourself, you blow your cover. And the entire point of reaching out to your ex is for them to believe that you are doing A-okay and that everything is all right. If you go in there making this a big deal, I promise you they will too. And now it's awkward. And bouncing back from awkward, that shit can be really, really hard. So when I think you reach out in the letter, you don't have to make it some dark and dreary or really profound outreach. It can be something lighter, more of an accountability piece, a little less emotional, a little more logical, maybe even a little funny. And I think that that can kind of help ease you and your ex into the situation of engaging, because again, once it's awkward, no one wants to do it anymore. And we are already so excited that hopefully they'll be receptive. We don't want to jeopardize how receptive they're going to be.
As part of this webinar program or process, we were going to offer you the opportunity to work with us at a discounted rate. If you're taking time to see this webinar live, especially, it means that you're truly dedicated. And we also want to give you everything that we've got to provide you with the tools to be successful. And so we can provide you with all of our products, every single one that we've ever created.
By the way.
8 products for the discounted price of $200 instead of a lot more, to give you all the tools you need to self-coach, to navigate this process the right way, and to put every chance in your corner.
And the products that you get, they're sent to you directly via the internet, and you can actually have them on your mobile device too. Mm-hmm. So if you're on the road, if you're worried, if you find yourself having anxiety at work, it's a really cool kind of thing to refer back to in private. And it's a little support system.
Right. So I've created a few of these products, and I can tell you that they're based on years of success stories, right? What works for what type of people and what types of situations. And so all in all, this is going to be over 6 hours of content, and you're gonna get your money's worth. We also wanted to provide you with the ability to work with us to help you contextualize this advice. And so there's also an option for you to get all of our products and also to get 2 coaching sessions with us. Coach Nat, can you share a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, again, a lot of people that reach out to us assume that there is some sort of formula, some sort of magic fairy dust. There's a wand. There's something that we can do to con our exes back. It's not the way this works. We can't trick them into loving us again. We actually have to make it happen organically. And I think that the beauty of working with us one-on-one is that we can tailor the approach. Like, for instance, I don't know, it's personality differences. Some people seek more comedic relief than others. Some people are a little bit more this than that. And knowing those tidbits about you is going to help us implement these products and implement all of our materials in a way that's going to work for you. I think for some people, they want to go to, they want to send their ex an email, but they've never sent their ex an email in their entire relationship. So now it seems a little weird to be receiving an email from you now. Does that make sense? And so I think that the beauty of coaching with us is that we can really narrowly define what it is that you're doing, and we can support you during the process. So let's say you get 2 30-minute sessions. We can do one during initiation. Hey, this is going to be what works for you. These are the products that are most applicable for you. And then we can touch base a week or so, 2 weeks, whatever duration of time later, to see whether or not the plan is working, whether we have to modify something, because a lot of these variables are subject to change as we change and as our partners change.
From my humble experience, there isn't anyone else that I've known of, or that I know of actually, in this niche, who is as dedicated and as committed to your success. There's a lot of people that make big, bold, grandiose claims that don't really have skin in the game. Okay, we people on our team, our coaches, spend their days and nights interacting with people like you, and a lot of you that work with us know this, and we care. We really do, and we are going to give you everything that we've got. And if it's time to move on and it can't happen, we'll let you know. And it's tough to hear, but sometimes it's necessary, because sometimes when one door closes, another one can open, and not all relationship can work out, and that's okay too. So our promise to you is to give you everything that we've got. And that's kind of the spirit behind these 2 packages, discount packages that we offer to you exclusively during this webinar. Because if you're here, you're committed. And we want to also give some commitment back to you. If you have any questions regarding these products or about these 2 offers, feel free to put them in the chat. And if you have questions for us as well, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to
do some Q&A.
To do some Q&A. Keep them short. The shorter, the more concise, the better. And we'll try to provide you with applicable feedback. Again, we had prepared a very nice and high-tech presentation. Unfortunately, the technical side failed us today. We will make sure that we have things figured out moving forward to give you the best level of support possible. There was a lot of nuggets, a lot of wisdom, and a lot of time and commitment that went into this presentation. So we'll have it figured out. And apologies for the technical issues. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to share those with us, and it would be our pleasure to help. In the meantime, I wanted to kind of address some of the most frequently asked questions that I get related to when you're to blame. And often people ask me, when do I know if it's still salvageable? How do I know if it's still possible because I've done this huge mistake? And people ask me this question that sometimes needs context, and I wanted to get your take as to how do you deal with that? I love this question. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but I can tell you mine. And I think I really do believe that 95% of the people that approach me can fix it. I'm really confident in our abilities. If we can harness
what it is that we offer, and we can harness our words and our hearts and our brains, we can pull off anything. I think that the biggest thing is when we have emotional lack of control, we blow it. And that's number one. And that's the beauty of kind of working with us, just because you have the opportunity to have an outlet that's not going to affect your relationship or your friendships or whatever it may be. But I do think that with that is understanding that there may be a waiting game. You know, if you're in a really big pickle and your situation's really bad, don't be afraid to walk away for an extended period of time. Some people say, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? Wait 6 months? Yeah, if you have to, absolutely. There are ways for you to expedite that process. There are tidbits that we can kind of help you with. But I think it really comes back to how much time you're willing to invest and how long you're willing to wait and what matters most to you.
So to interject some of the questions that we're receiving here, Sarah asked, what if your ex has deleted you off social media, not blocked you off social media? So we have an entire social media product that addresses what to do in those situations. And whether you're blocked or deleted, in reality, it's the same thing, okay? Just as quickly as you were blocked or deleted, you can be added. And usually this happens when you've made big mistakes, right? Because your ex feels that you are just crowding their space and that they need to completely severe contact with you to regain independence. And so I highly encourage that you check out this product. It's going to provide you with so many tools and tips and concrete things that you can do to empower yourself and to make sure that you don't let the fact that you were deleted completely ruin this breakup recovery process for you.
And similarly, I think it shows that you got to go into radio silence immediately. I think you need to take a step back. I wouldn't make a stink about it. I wouldn't reach out wondering, asking them why they deleted you. I wouldn't even pretend not to even acknowledge it. I wouldn't even notice. And I would go right into personal development immediately and working on some really fundamental things in your character to hopefully get that re-add that you want.
It's very, very nice. Nicolaj is asking what to do after the first date. This is your territory right here. Okay,
so I want to tell you that the first thing I need to know, though, is how the date went. I need to know every single detail because I think that there's a lot of info. That's a really loaded question. Ideally, I would say you reach out within the first 24 to 48 hours, verifying that you had a good time. If it went well, if it didn't go well, then we're going to have to totally re-strategize this. Again, this is like a perfect we should coach situation. I encourage you to reach out to me directly.
Absolutely. This is Natalie will help you turn this around very swiftly. So what if your ex-boyfriend what if you took your ex-boyfriend for granted? Asks Crystal. How can you show him that you now care about him without seeming desperate and needy? Okay, so first and foremost, it's very important for you to acknowledge the mistakes made. Come clean. And whether it's through a letter or a more direct interaction, you need to acknowledge their pain and their perspective on the breakup so that at least that can be strained away. And you will feel, you will show actually that you are compassionate and that you understand what your ex went throughout this breakup and the need for a separation. It is okay to acknowledge that a breakup was inevitable, okay? And then I think that by maintaining contacts, okay, by making sure that you stay friends with the ex, we've had a lot of questions about staying friends with the ex here, you can prove to them that you can indeed make them feel special without being needy or without being desperate, as long as it's real, as long as you are actually working on virtues that make you a more tolerant, less self-centered, more compassionate person. If you are actively working on that in your day-to-day life, your ex will see it. And this goes back to what I tell people that I coach in one-on-one sessions all the time. Don't be focused on showcasing change. Don't be focused on proving your change. You're missing the point. Be focused on actually changing. And be focused on actually building those virtues, and your change will speak for itself. All that you'll need is then a communication platform to prove that you've evolved. And trust me, your ex will notice. Your ex knows you more than probably you know yourself. So they'll see the transformation occur.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have a lot of questions coming in fast. So we're going to try to
Oh, I don't mean to interrupt. In response to Sarah who mentioned if you should delete their photos off of social media, I wouldn't for a little while, because I think it also shows that you continue to put them on a pedestal. And I think it also shows that you're there wondering what the hell they're doing, and what they're doing is still directly affecting you even post-breakup. I wouldn't do anything. If after a decent amount of time, you personally, for personal reasons, find it appropriate to delete the photos, go ahead and do so. But I just think it shows them that they're still under your skin, and that's not advantageous if you want to get them back. You really have to show that you can almost not give a shit, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, John, for the kind words and positive feedback. We love you too. Also, Z, book a coaching session with me. You know that I care, and I'm going to help you turn things around. Please be patient. You know what you have to do. We've been over it, and you're starting to kind of fall outside of the parameters that we've set up. Book a coaching session with me when you're ready, and we can take the next step. And I still believe in you and in your love story, without a doubt.
And John, please email me directly. I know that we've been coaching for a little while, and I'll take your question personally outside of this chat.
Okay. So Brad gives us context here. He says that they were together for 5 years. He was away for extended periods of time. There was cheating involved on her part. They have a kid together. You have custody of the child. She holds it against you. What do? That's a contextualized radio silence. First and foremost, it's very important for you to not only understand what went wrong, but to be compassionate with how that made her feel. And if you've been through my crash course on my website, you understand that when you neglect your ex, cheating occurs very frequently, and it is a natural human reaction to when you feel like you have been. When you don't have a place, when you don't have a role to play in a relationship. And it shows that in some ways you had control over the power struggle, and that she needed to send you a strong message. She cares. She still does. And it's normal for her to feel resentful if you have custody of your kid. It's a complex situation, one that requires a certain level of support. And I urge you to reach out to me. This is going to take more than just a webinar Q&A to turn things around. It's well worth the investment. I'm going to give you everything I got. Use the discount here. Use this discount package. It will be well worth your investment. There's a question regarding what happens when you book a coaching session. How long does it take? How does the process work? So we have done quite a few videos on that on our YouTube channel, and you can kind of get the exact process of what takes place. But to give you the rundown, we get a notification, our team gets a notification, they transfer the invoice to Coach Natalie or to myself, relevant to who it pertains to. And usually within an hour, we touch base with you via email to set up a coaching session with you within our timetable, within our availability, and we suggest different time slots.
If you get the full hour, you're guaranteed a 24-hour turnaround. We will make it work. If we have increased volume, which we usually do, if you get the half hour, it could be 24, 48 hours, depending.
All right, but we usually speak to you as
soon as we can.
As soon as we can, whether it's on a Saturday, a Sunday, a Tuesday, a Christmas, a holiday, whatever. We're there. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. So this is our commitment to you, and we don't promote ourselves enough. I know that. I've been told that by people who have succeeded in getting back together with the person that they love. In a way, that's not what we're about. We don't pat ourselves in the back, and we don't share testimonial after testimonial. But we have success stories all the time, and perhaps we should do a better job of communicating those positive stories with you, and be more engaged with you in communicating with you on a weekly basis. And Coach Natalie and I will talk about that, and how we can provide you with more energy and more content, and to continue to help you as much as we can.
Absolutely. We have Kristen. My ex tends to jump into relationship after relationship, have gone through radio silence and contacted him about catching up. And he agreed, but if he normally moves on so quickly, am I wasting my time? That is another loaded question, but it's a really, really good one. I'm so glad that someone brought this up. I think that is more of a reflection of his relationship with himself and his relationship with his partners. And I think you have to ask yourself, what is he running from? What grieving is he not wanting to do? I think rebounding tends to imply that we just kind of want to take an Advil through the breakup. We want to take a sedative. We don't want to feel it. And it's not about wasting your time, but it's about questioning whether or not he's able to look in the mirror and realize a few things about himself and face his own demons. If he can face them, then he's a good investment to make. But if he can't see them, doesn't want to see them, is reluctant, he may not be the man for you. I encourage you to speak with me directly so we can kind of see what makes sense for you.
Brittany talks about, Brittany and a lot of people ask about exes wanting to stay friends after a breakup. Why? And what does it mean? So what you need to understand is that just because a person does not want to be in an intimate relationship with you doesn't mean that they don't care. Doesn't mean that they don't see value in having you in their lives, especially when there's still bonds that are left there after the breakup. Kids, pets, long-term relationships, when you know each other's families, all that good stuff. So just because an ex breaks up with you doesn't mean that they don't care. A lot of times it means that they felt neglected, they felt that you were too needy, they felt that they couldn't be happy with you long term, but it doesn't mean that everything is to be thrown away. And being an ex wanting to be friends is a positive thing. I often hear people telling me, my ex told me that, they wanted to be friends, and I said, no, it's not good enough. I don't want that. And I understand why. But a lot of times it's your pride. It's the ego talking. And if you let your lower nature get the best of you in that sense, and there's no plan behind the words, usually you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot and regretting that moving forward. So an ex wanting to stay friends is a good sign, and it's an opportunity. Just like a breakup is an opportunity, right? It brings about pain and suffering, but it's a tremendous opportunity for you to reevaluate what is important, what is not, who you want to be, and how to get there. And that's part of why I love what I do, because I see people with so much potential who were in a daze, sleeping for days, for years sometimes. And all of a sudden, there's just this explosion that occurs, and they find the motivation and the awareness to become incredible people. And of course, in the process, you inspire the person that you love, but it's so much more. It's a beginning. A breakup can be a beginning. And being friends with an ex is a positive thing. So I think that although we were not able to answer all of the questions that we got here,
we did like a live YouTube video. That's kind of what just happened.
That is right. Next time, the technology will be better. You will have a PowerPoint. Thank you for all of the positive feedback. John here is saying that a coaching session is well worth it. Tell the people. We have told the people. Thanks, you for
John.
Your support. Please, all of you, if you booked this coaching discount, we'll touch base with you very shortly, within the hour. And if you have not, really check out our products and maybe look at the ones that are applicable to you. We remain committed to giving you the best that we got, to the best of our abilities. We're going to be posting more on our blog. Coach Natalie has been working her tail off for that, so watch out for that. We also have a huge surprise coming up in the next few months, something big that we've been working on. You can count on us to continue to give you daily videos on our YouTube channel. Continue to provide us with your feedback. If there's a topic that you want us to address, leave it in the comment section of any video. We do check it out. We reply to every topic, to every comment. I'm sorry, as you know, and continue to fuel our fire. If you like these videos, no one will see that you're liking videos on YouTube. Okay, it's private. We don't know who liked what videos. Like it. It fuels our fire. Knowing that that you enjoy what we do, the content that we create helps us. And
if you like the video, I'm so sorry to interrupt. and I've actually never said this before, but I'm someone that when I'm on the internet and I really like something, I share it for my network to see. If there's a video that you really like, I also would love it if you shared it. I think it allows for us to continue to expand our message and to tap into people that can really use the help. I think that love can make us pretty foggy, and it's nice to have someone to connect with. And we hope to be those people.
That's right. Thank you, Coach Nat. Keep fighting the good fight and become this person that you know you can be, and good things will happen in the process. Okay? We're sending you much love from Miami, Florida, as always. Until next time, see you soon.
Thank you so much again. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.